Madeline, let's go ahead and have you come up and kind of show what you were going to show us.
I don't know what
I'm excited to see this.
I learned more. Just going back through again. Pretty amazing and awesome. This side's starting to make sense to me. So what we pretended, Mark and I kind of worked together. Because we made an assumption. We went different from the farm element and we went to a bike shop. So our son's name's Michael. He loves bikes. He wants to open a bike shop. So there be the pretend mode. So we went in, created our setup invoice, which all of a sudden just making more sense to me.
Setup PO, yep.
A setup PO, sorry about that. And so we just created two categories to start with. One with just regular bikes, and so we put a Trek 1440, whatever that is, and a Trek 1551. We calculated 3 of one, 2 of another because we're a little, they're a little high end on the bikes, and so Trek's not high end, but that's okay. We bring them in, and
some Treks are.
Yeah, some Treks are. Yeah, that's true. So we got those in, and we created that bike category with no problem. Then we decided we'd have spokes and tubes and all of these things, and so we created a parts category, and that's where we were started next. So we had started with the spokes, and we made a mistake because we went in and created spokes as a part, and then as an item, supposedly in a parts category, but Madeline, in all her infinite wisdom, went in and keyed in spokes as the category name, but then that's when we have to go back and play and fix with that one a little bit. So, you know, all in all, we just learned a lot. Mark learned, because that's what we did yesterday. Okay, so the explanation that we just went through with the bikes helped Mark to see what we kind of did yesterday with that service business. Now granted, in my head, it's always easier to see tangible items, visualize tangible items over services. It's always been that way. I think I'm a touchy-feely person. But this doing the bike thing versus the service thing like we did yesterday is well-rounded. I understand this process now. I may not click everything right and do everything right, but the sequencing and how they all tie in. And what I finally figured out, the thing that's nice, is as we go through, and this is the part that I guess, I mean, I was running, I guess, a little overwhelmed, not overwhelmed, but I forgot that you have everything there I could possibly ever want. So when you take a breath, and I go back in and realize that if I have a question on this page or setting up the parts category or whatever it is, you have an edit, you have a link. I mean, there's no way to get lost as long as you don't panic, right?
and your browser.
Good advice.
And the browser
And the
works.
browser works.
Yeah, and we had a browser issue. That was Mark and I were trying to visually duplicate each other, and his browser wasn't working. So, you know, of course, Brandon figures it out for us. But that's the part that I think probably, when you say we're getting faster, I don't know sometimes if my brain's getting faster, but what I'm realizing is that I don't have to feel stressed as you get going faster than I feel like my brain's assimilating the information. Because all I have to do is read those menu choices, and they're going to, you know, they'll be there, the one I need. Because now I've got, all of a sudden, the terminology's making more sense. I'm using the terms you're using. So as I read those menu items, I know where to click. It's just feeling better.
Great. Love it.
You know, when we put the spokes in as a category instead of parts, I was just thinking about that. You know, really, there are many different types of steel spokes.
So we could have
Steel spokes is a category.
If you wanted it.
If we
And fiber,
wanted to go
you
that
know,
level.
if I'm doing a bike shop all the way, because I have different lengths of spokes.
Sure.
I have just the cheap steel, I have the stainless steel.
This is where the plan
You see?
on paper saves you a lot of trouble.
Right, and so
Yeah.
you know, we could have kept the category of steel spokes
Sure.
and just added the different kinds of steel spokes. You know, the 19-inch spokes versus the 16-inch spokes.
Sure.
And the same way with the fiber, but we went back. We never did learn how to actually take it out.
Okay,
Only create it and make it inactive.
that's fine. You could even just edit it if you had another one that you needed to use before. It
Yeah.
doesn't hurt anything. Okay, so.
So when I make it inactive, it's still there, I can
Right.
activate it
Oh
later.
yeah.
Is there any way to delete it, or is that a?
Okay,
An
certain pieces in Adilas we allow you to delete. Certain pieces we're like, you know what? They just exist. You can turn them inactive. They don't have to see them. But technically, they might have other pieces that they're playing with.
Right.
So if you technically kill everything, you could potentially break links.
Break the link.
And so some of the pieces we let you, and some of them we don't.
And a category is one that you wouldn't want for fear that there were other links to that category somewhere else.
You would have to
correct?
check
Or is
all.
that a permissions issue type thing?
No, it's basically like, we'll just let you set it inactive, and what it does is it makes it so it doesn't show up in your lists.
Okay.
But if it's connected to anything else, it doesn't break that, you just can't search by that because you said it's inactive.
Okay.
And so basically it's behind the scenes, something happens and it's kind of swept. Virtually it's kind of swept into a corner a little bit, but it's not.
Now, that would bother me greatly to know that I'd made that mistake and it was permanently there, but the reality is once I inactivate and I can't see it within a few days, I'll forget it's there anyway.
Another thing that's kind of interesting, we've actually, this is funny, but people have actually had to void something, say something went wrong, and they void it. Well, what happens is on most of our homepage, we pull a running 30 days, and so they see this one that says void on it, and they're like, I want to get rid of that. But what they don't realize is this is a running 30 days.
Right.
So pretty soon that's going to get lower and lower and lower and lower and lower. Pretty soon it's not going to show up. It still exists.
Right, but the
But it's-
history, it's not going to show in history.
Yeah,
basically,
it basically, it almost doesn't play. So what happened right here is in the parts categories, I see a couple of them right here. If I wanted to, all I'd have to do is click on this, hold it back in here, and I can now call this something new and say active. It automatically flips it, unless there was already something that was in that particular category, and then it would tell
so
me.
I could rename it when I need to bring something else on board.
If you needed
As
to,
long as there's not a link to it.
And-
If it was part of that.
watch this. Let's
category.
check it out. Let's see if you did assign anything to that. Okay, I'm going to go to the parts homepage.
Okay.
I'm going to say, get me this thing that I just named something new that technically was some sort of spokes, and I'm going to say all. Okay, go get this, go get all of them. What have I got? Nothing. Okay, we're good to
So
go.
before I do anything.
You have to activate it because guess what? You won't even see it in this list. Okay, if it's inactive. So if we go back right here and we deactivate that, so something new, and I just change it to inactive status.
And then it goes down to the bottom.
Okay, it goes down to the bottom. It threw it inactive. Okay. Now if I go back here to the parts homepage and I try to find something, I don't even have something new in here.
Okay, so
Okay.
so the only place it would really show to annoy me would be if I were actually.
Correct. And that's a good call, and it's just the way we roll.
Well,
on
it's
certain
safer
things.
that way because we have a tendency to delete things without processing completely, so.
Well, you have to realize there literally are 200 tables, 1,000 pages, and we're creating relationships between all of these different pieces. So if you start deleting some of my pieces, it actually makes, like even a part number, say I added something and I've totally killed it, like killed it. You could technically just make it inactive, and it still exists in the background, but it doesn't even play into your physical, but it still exists.
Right, okay.
There's
Well,
a
that's
lot
good
of
to
connections.
understand. I
Lot of
learned
connections.
really well by making mistakes. so
Perfect.
I would tell you I did that one on purpose. But
Let's make some more. Mark, we were talking bikes. Do you have anything else that you wanted to add on yours? I'm going to pull up your PO here. Do you want to come up to the front, or you want me to pull up your PO?
Particularly,
Okay, here's Mark's. Looks
get your own.
fairly similar. Like, looks like you added a few more of them, so you're up
Yeah,
to
we added
15,000.
we just added, basically we added a couple of bikes, a low end and a higher end, and then we just added the spokes and just put some variety in as well.
Okay, so watch this. We have Trek 1440, and I think Madeline had Trek 1440, but it was under a different vendor.
I did.
Watch this. Let's just see what we got. Trek. What do we have under part number Trek? 1440, 1550, 1440. But look at this. Mike's Bikes and Mike's Bikes 2. Okay? See how they're separate vendors? That's why it allowed that same ID.
Right.
if I were to try to add it under the same vendor, it'd be like, ah, I've already got that one.
Which is why I'm glad, I'm glad I figured that out too, but you said, and we'll learn this later on, you said that ultimately if I looked at those and I had them coming from 2 vendors, that's kind of a generic thing, okay, but we set it up coming from 2 vendors. If I ultimately wanted to join those 2 together as an inventory item so they're together, you said we could do that.
Correct. Do you want to see that, or
We can do it now or we can do it later, that's fine.
what would you like? Right now?
Yeah, let's see it.
Okay, so I have to turn on some permissions. This isn't something you just want any Tom, Dick, and Harry to have, okay?
Right.
This is pretty special. And the goal is, let's say that we want Mike's Bikes to be the master, not Mike's Bikes 2. Does that make sense? So what we're going to do is I'm going to go home, and this is a special permission, so I'm going to go users. I'm going to turn to my person. This one happens to be a system maintenance issue, okay? So I'm going to click on system maintenance, and I'm going to look for a silver permission that says find and replace. So global parts, find and replace, okay? This is an admin cleanup tool set for parts and general inventory. This tool may be used to blend, mix, replace, or override existing part number values within the system. This is a great tool if you are looking to move from a strict vendor-specific item to a more non-vendor-specific or generic type item, recommended for admin only, okay? And when we actually turn this one on, I'm going to go down to the bottom and submit this so I have it. Now, you'll notice if I actually go home, I can't even get to it from here, okay? Because that's a special option. I'm going to have to go classic homepage. Or if I know, there is a way to get to it from here, okay? Tools and maintenance, and I'm going to have to go here and say global find and replace, which is the same thing as going like this. Classic homepage, system maintenance, find and replace, okay? Because it's physically a permission that doesn't show up on the map. Like that's not something that I want everybody even to know or exist, okay? We're going to hit go. So warning, warning, this cannot be undone, you know, whatever, like this is pretty important. But what you do is you basically say, set me a master, set me a secondary, commit it, and then we roll it together. But we roll a bunch of things together behind the scenes.
So it's like a merge then.
It's a merge.
Big merge.
So what we're going to do is we're going to choose the vendor. The master is going to be Mike's Bike. I'm going to just search for Trek again. Okay, this is going to be the master. Step 1, set up the master. It's searched. We're going to find it. Okay, this is my master, this 1440, okay, from Mike's Bike. So step 1 is done. It says step 2, what's the secondary? We're going to find Mike's Bikes 2, and we're going to search again for Trek. Okay, this one is under Mike's Bikes. This one is under Mike's Bikes 2. And I'm going to find 1440. This is the one that I don't want. Set as secondary. As soon as I click this, nothing's going to happen yet. But I guarantee you it's going to prompt me to be like, okay, I now know master and I know the secondary. Are we ready? So here's what we're going to do. Click it. Okay, are you sure you are about to run an admin find and replace parts function? Warning, this process is permanent and cannot be undone. It's important that you know that because we're basically behind the scenes. We're flipping vendor IDs. We're flipping all kinds of stuff. Okay? So here's what we're going to do. As the master, Trek 1440 from Mike's Bike. Okay? As the secondary, Trek 1440, Mike's Bikes 2. Okay? As soon as we say yes, it will do it. Okay, so basically, success, you finished, where do you want to go? Like it basically kind of allows me to do this kind of stuff. What I'm going to show you right now is I'm just going to go to the home page. Like there's a number of links that it did, but watch this. If I search Trek now, just from any quick search, I should have 3 items.
Correct.
1440, 1550, and 1551. Okay? So there's actually, if I wanted to go to the advanced search, let me...
And it took the price in from Mike's Bike. the
well, we
price
told
in
it
from-
this was the master.
Is not under Mike's Bike.
This
So
was the
price
master.
Mike's Bike 2 is no longer available, no longer there.
Okay,
Is it
correct.
underneath Mike's Bike?
No.
So there's a couple things that happened, and this is important to know. We'll kind of walk through it for a second, but we switched from a basic live PO to a special live PO because all of a sudden I have mixed vendors on one of my pieces, okay? We haven't even talked about that yet, but it's important that we will. What I wanted to do is I wanted to show you where this item went. We were just barely talking about deactivating a part category, how it went to an inactive status. Well, technically, Trek 1440 from the other old vendor still exists, but it's been inactivated. Okay, so watch this. If I go to the advanced part search, or I could go part number ADV if I wanted to do from anywhere, okay? The advanced search, I can come down and I can actually go like this. There's a little thing right here that says status. Currently it's set to active, okay? But if I wanted to pull it to all, and then I said on the part number, I know it has the word Trek in it, okay? So Trek, and get me all of the statuses. This is active, inactive, that type of thing. If I hit search, I'll get 4 this time instead of 3. Which kind of says, hey, I'm inactive. By the way, you might want to check the history on this. If we did check the history, it says this part number was set to an inactive status and was globally replaced by this one from this vendor. Here's the ID number. Like, it's just kind of telling you what happened. But technically, this one still exists.
So it's no longer in inventory, though.
Oh, yes.
Well, the
Okay, so watch
inventory
this.
is
The
under
inventory got
Mike's
all rolled underneath this new one here. So if I go under, I'm just going to go into this particular item, and then if I hit usage, guess what? This will show up coming in from 2 different POs. Okay? Even though it came in from 2 different POs, it actually is the same inventory item. It says now I currently have 8 in hand. We just combined some stuff.
Yeah, it's dropped.
Okay? The important thing is I'm going to go to the PO homepage to show you the difference here, okay? We're going to go home, and so it flip-flopped because all of a sudden it has one PO, now has some items from Mike 2, and it has a Mike 0, or just a plain Mike's, okay? What I want to show you is there's a difference on this, okay? So here's the difference. Mike's Bikes and Mike's 2. We're on 19 and 18 right here, okay? Look at this. We have Basic Live. We have Special Live. As soon as you ever see the word Special Live, it means I have mixed vendors, which actually gives you different options inside of your PO. Okay? And if you're doing kind of the homogeneous or generic inventory, often you will be using your special POs because you need to use mixed vendors.
So if she's setting up her items, that's what you were talking about, is that generic. She would set hers then to that special.
Okay.
Is that correct? What we talked
So
about?
when she brings it in the first time, it's vendor specific because you're setting it up to the generic vendor. Okay, that's just vendor specific. However, the next time when she goes to get it, she has to do a special PO because she's going to get it from X, but it's actually under her current vendor piece. So you're going to have a little bit of a mix there. We haven't played with that. It actually requires a special permission. And so once again,
And that's okay, but that's, you see special, that means that some manipulation's taking place.
that means there's a mixed vendor. What you really want to do, I'm just going to show you, if you go edit main on any PO, you're going to want to read this help file, okay? And what it does is it basically, there's a part in here that talks about the PO types. Here's what a basic live is. Here's what a basic request is, okay? Here's what a special live is. This is pretty important. Here's what a special request. Here's what an update is. Here's what an internal build is, okay? These are kind of some of your different states or statuses that we can actually use for the different things. I'm trying to think of, I don't want to, like, we've done some great little setups, but you guys don't even have permissions to use special live. So I bet you if I even went here, I'm going to go back for just a second. I'm going to go PO homepage, and I'm going to try to pull up this special live PO. Let's see if it'll let me do it. Okay, printable. Let's see if it'll let me go into edit. Okay, I must have that permission turned on. Okay, or I must have admin POs. One of those two I have turned on. Let me show you the permission that it's actually looking for. You guys can turn this on if you want, but I'm going to go into my name. I'm going to go to System Liabilities. This is dealing with POs. So look at this. I have basic POs. I have internal builds. There's actually a whole special one to even be able to do this. And I have admin. That's probably why I was able to see it. It's because I had admin. If I didn't have admin POs, I bet you I wouldn't even be able to log into that one. I'm going to try it really quick just to make sure.
You turned both of them off.
I turned both of them off. I just have basic and internal build on my PO settings right
Because
now.
you would want people to have special POs go admin.
See, it's not showing.
Okay.
There you go.
So basically, I'll let you see the printable version, but I'm not going to let you into the. I can still view it, but you can't play really. And I bet if I hit edit main right now, it would freak out as well. Okay. Whoa, wait. Because it's basically that's tied to a special. That means I'm mixing vendors or potentially doing some stuff like that. Okay.